episode of Touring the AFC South. I know we took off last week, but we took off for a specific reason, and that was the 2021 NFL Draft. As we saw, teams added players, teams definitely took took the mystery out of who they wanted. Finally, some teams did, and you saw some of your favorite players from college football land on some of your favorite teams over your favorite rivals. Of course, this show is about the AFC South, so we're going to get into the draft picks that were made by the Houston Texans, the Indianapolis Colts, the Tennessee Titans, and the Jacksonville Jaguars in a second. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the show. The draft, which of course was the show last Thursday night. The biggest question, I'm gonna talk about just broad NFL stuff right now. The biggest question mark going into the draft was who were the 49ers trading up for at the 3 spot. And for weeks and weeks and weeks, everyone talked about Mac Jones from Alabama, and they're going to take Mac Jones, and they traded up for him. And honestly, it just didn't make sense to me. It's almost like saying 2 + 2 = 5. It just didn't make sense to me. Then you heard the talk of Trey Lance, and then you got Trey Lance and Mac Jones going up to it. You didn't know what was going to happen. Then all of a sudden, they say the draft pick is in, and everyone's excited, trying to figure out what's going on, and they picked Trey Lance. Honestly, it was the right pick for them. They have a talented guy that they can put behind Jimmy Garoppolo, who will be there this season, and they can grow Trey Lance, allow him to learn the system, and potentially step in and be the starter in the 2022 season. Definitely, I don't know about Mac Jones. I know Mac Jones probably will be solid with the Patriots, but I don't have a great feeling about him. I like the talent that was around him. I like the ability to make some plays, but I'm just not so sure he's that guy. And I don't think he would have been that guy with the 49ers eventually either. That was definitely a sigh of relief to some and had some confused as well. So it is what it is. Trey Lance is a member of the San Francisco 49ers, and Mac Jones is going to the Patriots. So there you have it, and probably be their quarterback in the future. And then also, I already got a comment already about Mac Jones. Oh boy, here we go. For those that can't see it, I'm going to put it up on the screen. So I won't believe in Mac Jones when 3 of his teammates went before him. Well, I understand Sasha, thank you for the comment, I'm sorry. But, it isn't necessarily his teammates went before him. It was the fact that the quarterbacks that went before him. Honestly, I can agree with the order of the quarterbacks that went before him. I will say this, that Justin Fields definitely is in a great situation to be the savior at quarterback for the Chicago Bears, because honestly, do you believe in Andy Dalton or do you believe in Nick Foles? And the crazy thing is, if both of them don't start and Justin Fields starts in Chicago, that means that the Chicago Bears will have almost $20 million in backup quarterbacks sitting on the sideline. Again, if Justin Fields starts for Chicago Bears, that means you have Andy Dalton and Nick Foles sitting on the bench for a total of almost $20 million. $20 million. Wow. That's all I can say. All right. Yeah, and I had another comment here from Sasha as well. And that was part of my concern with Mac Jones as well. It's hard to evaluate a quarterback when they're surrounded by that amount of talent. That is true, Because there was another quarterback that was overvalued when he came out in the draft. His name, Matt Leinart. Everyone thought he was great with Reggie Bush and all the other talents he had around him, and then he got to the NFL and he couldn't figure it out with the Arizona Cardinals, and yeah, he wasn't as great as people thought he was. And also, got a comment from my guy Chris. And if you haven't checked out the Drop Balls podcast, hey, he's definitely on this stuff with the football, talking about the draft, talking about just a lot of different things. And here's his comment about Fields. It says Fields will start by week 6. I could see it. I could see probably sooner, to be honest. Hey, and thank you again, Sasha, for giving me the Super Clap Award. Appreciate that. Now, I've talked about the things I looked at and the things I was like, okay. But this is the AFC South show. So without further ado, let's get into the AFC South. We're going to start with the Houston Texans. Yes, I know. It's not very exciting to start with the Houston Texans when it comes to AFC South, but you have to start somewhere. You do. So it is what it is. All right. And for the Houston Texans, their first pick went until the 3rd round. Yes, they did not have any picks until the 3rd round. If I have to explain it again, I will. The reason why they did not have any first-round picks is because they traded for an offensive tackle, and they traded for Kenny Stills. Now, that offensive tackle, Laramie Thompson, Mr. False Start. Hey, man can block, the man can do some things, but he definitely false starts a lot. That just is what it is. But, hey, that's what they traded for. They traded away their first-round picks, and this is what they're left with. So, it is what it is. Now, they do have Tyrod Taylor there. Have a mention from Sasha about they should have picked up Teddy Bridgewater when he was so cheap. Not when they paid Tyrod Taylor, to be honest. And now I'm going to stick with my theory that they have paid Tyrod Taylor to be the equivalent of the Wally Pipp Award. I think they pay him for that because it seems like every time he goes somewhere, there's a quarterback that comes along and takes his starting spot. And whether it be injury, whether it be just they want to go with the younger guy, is what it is. But this time around, they drafted in the 3rd round, their first pick, they drafted Davis Mills from Stanford. Now, they need a quarterback, but it's just interesting. They traded for Ryan Finley from the Cincinnati Bengals. They've got Tyrod Taylor. Now they've got Davis Mills. They still got Watson in limbo with the situation going on there, but of course he said he doesn't want to play there. So you got 3 quarterbacks, and more than likely Davis Mills may see the field this year. Sorry, Tyrod Taylor, and to all the Tyrod Taylor fans. I think he's going to get Wally Pipped again. I hate to say it, but I see it happening. But hey, he got paid another good deal, and he's been around the league. But I just hated that he never really got a full shot to start and a fair shot to start because he is a talented quarterback. But it is what it is. But Davis Mills is an interesting character. He can throw the football. He's athletic. He can make some things happen. Probably needs a little bit more development at Stanford. But, hey, he's here in the NFL now. It is what it is. We'll see what happens. But, he's the guy to keep your eye on as a player. Also, another guy you might want to keep your eye on, Brevin Jordan, tight end from Miami. I mean, potentially that they don't have anybody at tight end. So we'll see what happens. Brevin Jordan is definitely going to get some playing time because Fells actually left to go back to Detroit. So he's definitely going to be getting some playing time somehow, some way, Brevin Jordan. So, that's all I got for the Houston Texans. I wish Coach Culley down there the best. You definitely got a tough task ahead of you, and that's being kind So we'll see what happens and what doesn't happen when it comes to the Houston Texans, who are expected by many to be the cellar dweller of the AFC South. So there's what it is. Um, you know, as far as the next team I'm going to talk about, we're going to go from the cellar to the penthouse. This team has been playing well the last few seasons, made it to the playoffs, and by some is considered the class of the AFC South. And that team, no, it's not the Indianapolis Colts. It's Tennessee Titans. Now, the Tennessee Titans came into this draft needing a slot wide receiver, for those that don't know, or just a wide receiver in general. For those that don't know, they got rid of Adam Humphries this offseason. They let him go, cap casualty. He couldn't stay healthy anyway, so I kind of understand that cut. Didn't bring back Corey Davis. Did not have he got a nice contract with the New York Jets, and it is what it is. I don't think the Titans personally had the pockets or want to bring him back. That's just my thoughts. I could be completely and utterly wrong, but hey, it is what it is. But they came into this draft with that hole at the third wide receiver spot. And all leading up to the draft, I was thinking, maybe they'll draft a wide receiver. They'll probably draft one in the first round. Then, boom, there you go. They draft a cornerback. Caleb Farley, cornerback out of Virginia Tech. Now, Farley is talented, and he has been talented throughout his career, playing, and he's done some very good things. And can get a lot of people excited. And he's a top 10 talent. But where the questions come is, can he stay healthy? And what I mean by that is he had a back injury and back surgery. And he couldn't perform at his pro day. So honestly, the reason why he probably drafted number 22 is because he couldn't perform at his pro day and questions about his injury status. So that's a big thing. The Titans, they're definitely taking a chance on Farley to me. To me, I believe that, a back injury, it's hard to recover and be the same person after a back injury, especially back surgery. A lot of people that I've spoken to say you're never the same after a back surgery. To do anything you can to prevent having a back surgery. And he's literally 22 years old, 21, 22 years old, just had back surgery. So he may not be the same guy when he comes back on the field. The Titans are hoping that he is that same guy and hoping that they get a stud corner that can basically eliminate half of the field and do all the things they need him to do. That's what they're hoping for. But, definitely there's questions out there about if he can stay healthy. In addition to the back injury, I did a little bit of reading and I believe knee as well. So, he's pretty banged up coming into the NFL, and the NFL is a more physical league than college football as well. So we'll see what happens. I, for one, am interested to see what happens, and I hope the young man does well. I have questions about his injury status. Now, if you want to go into any other picks that I'm interested in looking at, I've got a couple with the Titans. You've got one with Elijah Molden. For those that don't know, his dad played in the NFL cornerback for the New Orleans Saints. And he plays cornerback as well, but he can move around. I've heard one analyst say that he could potentially be a Tyrann Mathieu Honey Badger type player. That he makes plays on the ball, he's ball hawk, things like that. Now, if that's the case and those skills transferred over to the NFL, then the Titans will be automatically in love with him. They need those type of playmakers in their secondary. I mean, they just need they signed Janoris Jenkins. They signed a cornerback from Cleveland as well. They're searching for more guys. So I understand drafting Molden. I still was kind of. I don't know what to say about the draft of Racy McMath in the 6th round. I mean, he may be a fast guy, things like that, and of course, may have gone to LSU, which he did. But um, I'm interested just to see how much they can develop him, if they are going to develop him, or if he is a practice squad guy that doesn't really make the active roster or make a difference there. I mean, we'll see what happens. He was around a lot of great wide receivers while he was at LSU. I mean, we got Marshall that was in the draft this year. We've got Jamar Chase. I mean, I could go on and on with the players that were there while he was there, but he is where he is now. Jordan Jefferson, another one, but he didn't develop. He didn't necessarily develop like those guys did, I should say. So we'll see. Maybe the Titans take a flyer on him and it works out, but we'll see what happens, and it is what it is. And those two guys will be definitely guys to watch, especially McMath. I mean, nobody can name who the third wide receiver is for the Tennessee Titans right now. Who knows? He could be that guy potentially, but we just don't know. Or they could they could go out and grab a veteran wide receiver, a guy like maybe Nashville, Tennessee native Golden Tate, perhaps. That's a thought. Could happen. We don't know, but as far as the Titans, solid draft, but you still have that question mark out there, and you don't really have any answers for it in terms of your third wide receiver. So that's on them. They'll figure it out or not. We'll see. All right. Next up, of course, we have the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the Colts did something I thought they would do. I thought they would draft a outside linebacker, pass rusher in the 1st round. I was absolutely correct. They drafted Quitty Payne with the 21st pick of the NFL draft. Now, with Quitty Payne, he's been he can wow you and dazzle you with his physical strength and his speed. And then other times he can disappear and you don't see him on the field. That's my biggest concern with Quitty Payne. Can he be that guy for the Colts? Now, he doesn't necessarily have to be the guy up front because, they still have Buckner there who commands a lot of attention. But can he be the guy with their pass rush and the guy outside linebacker for them? That is the big question. And now he is talented. He is physical. He's quick. He can do a lot of different things. But can he be that guy consistently for them? We'll see as the season develops, as he develops, as he gets around his teammates, fits in the scheme, and as he picks up things as a NFL player. Because it's not just about picking up things on the field. You got to pick up the playbook as well. So especially defensively and offensively. Well, especially defensively because a lot of people think, hey, just get out there and do this, that, and the other. No. You do have to know what all the terminology means on defense as well. It is what it is. And you definitely got to know what the coverage is behind you also. As far as the Colts, I have one question about one particular draft pick. And I know Chris touched on it. Chris, who's watching, I know he definitely touched on it as well. And that would be Sam Erlinger. Erlinger. I'm butchering his name, and Sam, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but hey, I tried. They drafted Jacob Eason, a year or two ago? They had Jacoby Brissett last year. Now they draft Sam Erlinger, I guess to compete with Jacob Eason for the backup job. Honestly, they probably could have used that pick on maybe another cornerback, perhaps, maybe another pass rusher, because 3 of the 4 outside pass rushers, outside linebackers for the Colts were veteran guys, and I think believe we're free agents as well. So they could have went and got another pass rusher that could have helped, but they took Sam Erlinger. Then you notice they have Pittman Jr., Michael Pittman Jr., they have Pascal Pascal at wide receiver, they have T.Y. Hilton. Why not draft another? Why not draft another wide receiver and earlier than that? It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all to me. And and thank you, Chris, for correcting me. Thank you for correcting me, man. I'm I couldn't remember if it was last year or was this year. I mean, hey, the times are running together. But they drafted Eason last year, and questioning the fourth round pick Grayson. It's Granson, and yes, I understand. I don't understand why you draft a tight end that early. But well, for that team, I don't understand it. And if you draft a tight end, why not draft a guy that's going to be a game changer? Not draft a guy that I'm not sure will be one. And honestly, I'm still trying to figure out why they did not draft another wide receiver. There was plenty of wide receivers available in the fourth round that they could have picked, but didn't happen. Didn't happen. I just don't understand it. Then you pick Eason and then Erlinger, and now they're going to be competing for the backup job. The only thing that'll make it even better is they draft another quarterback and make it a 3-for-all. I mean, that's all I can think of, but it just doesn't make any sense. It is what it is. It is what it is. And as a Colts fan over here, Mr. Lewis is definitely not feeling good about his team's draft, as evident by the words that are posted right there. It said Moose 1032 checking in, saying what up. Well, hey, what's up with you, man? Thanks for tuning in tonight. I'm I'm halfway. I would say I'm 3/4 of the way through talking about the AFC South and their draft. And I just got through talking about the Colts, and it's kind of disappointing looking at theirs. I'm sure if the Titans or a Texans fan or a Jaguars fan, you're very happy with how they did in the draft. But if you're a Colts fan, you're kind of questioning some things. I mean, honestly, all of these drafts have questions, but you kind of really got to question some things going on with the Colts and what things they did. But that's neither here nor there. And of course, I'm not in charge of developing these players. The teams are. So maybe it was something they saw. Oh, and let me go back actually with the Titans. I got one other pick I didn't talk about. And that was Monty Rice, the linebacker from Georgia. Now, the Titans are in a precarious situation. Rashad Evans, they said they're not picking up his option. They're not going to do an extension because they're not sure about the cap. Honestly, in the back of my mind, I think, maybe they're trying to free up their options or keep their options open in case he doesn't rebound from the year he had last year, which was not very good, in my opinion. Then you have another linebacker. I cannot remember his name right now. They brought him back on a 1-year deal, and I can't remember his name to save my life. Jayon Brown. There we go. They brought back Jayon Brown on a 1-year deal. So your linebacker core is a little bit of uncertainty there. So this guy, Monty Rice, you draft him in the 3rd round out of Georgia. He could make a difference. He could potentially be a guy that steps in. I mean, honestly, when they drafted Jayon Brown, a lot of people thought he was just a coverage linebacker, and he's proved to be more than that. They do have David Long Jr. there, but this guy, Monty Rice, couldn't be a guy to keep your eyes on going forward with the Titans as well. But back again, let's go back. We already talked about the Colts. We talked about the Titans. We talked about the Texans. Maybe too much. But let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ye of tons of money this offseason. They bought a lot of things this offseason, and one of those being the top cornerback in the AFC South. They brought in one of the top cornerbacks that was available on the market, and he's, in my opinion, the top cornerback in the AFC South. That would be Griffin. They brought him in from Seattle. Now they spent some money. They did a few things, but they still didn't do anything at tight end. And it still has some folks like my guy John Reed that covers the Jacksonville Jaguars got him wondering, are still probably talking about Mercedes Lewis. So in this draft, you got to think they're gonna get a tight end. They're gonna get a tight end. I mean, they draft Trevor Lawrence. They got to get him somebody to throw it to. Nope. They get in the the fifth round, Luke Farrell, tight end from Ohio State. Now, I'm not trying to down Luke Farrell from Ohio State, but he is a Urban Meyer guy. So the familiarity with him probably helped him get drafted. But I don't think anybody's scared of Luke Farrell when he goes across the middle or he runs around. So kind of swung and missed on that position in the draft, and you swung and missed on it in free agency. So hey, that's one thing. Now looking at their picks, they had 2 first-round picks, and a lot of people had 2 first rounds, 2 second rounders, and a third. So they had 5 picks within the first 65 picks of the NFL draft. Now I do like the pick. They did take a chance on him. They do have some safeties that they're paying right now, so he can kind of learn and grow up under them, and eventually probably step into that starting lineup, provided he can stay healthy and learn the system. Now, they did draft offensive tackle Walker Little. They do need another offensive tackle because, I'm not sure they're sold on Cam Robinson to be their starting offensive tackle for years to come. So we'll see what happens there. Then, of course, Tyson Campbell from Georgia, who is a good corner to go along. They have Griffin, AJ Henderson, the guy they drafted last year, and now they've got Tyson Campbell they drafted in the second round. So they should be pretty solid, and they're also pretty young at the cornerback position. So that's a good thing for them. But here's my question for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You signed Carlos Hyde this offseason to a 2-year deal, another former Ohio State guy. Didn't play for Urban Meyer, but, he did go there. Man, I'm reminded of a funny story that John Reed told me about him not wanting to go in the game. His first go round when he was in Jacksonville. But that's neither here nor there. But Carlos Hyde's there again. Then you have Robinson, the running back, who was a free agent, comes in, becomes the starting running back, does good things. Then there's a couple other running backs that they have there as well that they drafted that I don't believe played. I think one was out due to COVID all last year and lingering symptoms and things like that. And I'm not sure if he's been cleared or not. So basically, you have a pretty crowded room already. Then you go and you draft Travis Etienne with your second first-round draft pick, number 25 overall. I like Etienne. He can run. He can catch the football. He's elusive. He can make things happen. But was that really your biggest need? Was that really the thing you needed right then and there in the first round? You have production at your running back position. You could have went later in the draft and got a running back. But no, you drafted ETN. And I understand him and Trevor Lawrence are boys. I understand that. But was he really needed? Could they have used that somewhere else? You bet they could have used that somewhere else. So although I like ETN and I like his talent, I don't like that they drafted him in the first round to go there. But I will say James Robinson's probably going to be pretty pissed off and running hard this year. Oh, thanks again, Ted, for stopping through. Fist bump award. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. For those stopping through, giving coins is definitely a great thing, and I thank everyone that has given me coins tonight. Let's see. So we went over the Houston Texans, Tennessee Titans, Indianapolis Colts, and we went over the Jacksonville Jaguars. All I can say is the Tennessee Titans, who's going to be a third wide receiver? That's the question there. Jacksonville Jaguars, who's playing tight end? We don't know. They brought in 2 guys, including the the unmistakable Chris Manhertz, who caught like 3 passes last year. He's a blocker. He's a blocker as a tight end, but he caught 3 passes. But they have 2 guys that are blockers as tight ends, but don't have anybody catch the ball. But who's going to play tight end? And who's going to actually catch the ball at tight end? That's the question. Then you've got with the Texans. Honestly, I'm not even being funny, but the time clock. The time clock that's on Tyrod Taylor and how soon he doesn't start in Houston. Because he's probably going to start the season and probably going to end up not starting the season. Yeah. Hate to say it, but it's true. And nobody can really tell me otherwise. Then with the, the Colts, I like Pascal's there. You got Pittman. You got T.Y. Hilton. I want to see what that chemistry is like between T.Y. Hilton and Carson Wentz. That's a question. Can Carson Wentz rebound? That's another question. And thirdly, can that offensive line be great? Now, I've heard questions about I've heard rumors about Eric Fisher, former offensive tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Colts have been in contact with him, so that's interesting in itself, being that I believe he tore his Achilles last year in the playoffs. But we'll see what happens. The Colts may bring him in. The Colts may have just been talking shop. But as we've gone over all 4 teams, this is the end of my show tonight. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you tune in via the Apps app, hey, thank you. Thank you for all the people that gave me coins. Appreciate it. Thanks again for the Mic Drop Award, Chris Lewis. Thank you, sir. Chris Lewis II. Sorry, let me say it right. All right, Ted, thank you for the award as well. And Sasha, I believe you gave me an award. I thank you for that one. And wow, it's great when you get a comment like this and people are actually watching and listening to you. It's about to pop up now. Thank you for your time and sharing your knowledge. See, when people tell you that, it's always a great thing. It's always a great thing. Oh, and then also we got a funny comment, by the way. Said it could, oh boy, I'm going to let y'all see this one, and then, I'll say it as well. Said it could always be worse. My Raiders drafting a guard with the 17th pick of the draft, first round. Well, I left the Raiders out of this one, but I really questioned that one as well, because I was like, I like the guy, but you could have had him probably in the second round. You could have had Leatherwood in the second round. For those who don't know, the Raiders drafted Leatherwood out of Alabama. So you could have had him in the second round. But that's the Raiders. The Raiders either draft fast or draft just make you scratch your head sometimes. So, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. But thank you all for tuning in. If you want to find me on Twitter, it's at Mike Patton82. That's at Mike Patton82. You can find me, of course, on Facebook as well, which I'm broadcasting this on there as well. Hello to everybody in Facebook land. All right. Hello to everybody in Twitter land, too, because I'm live there, too. Hello. And everybody that's on YouTube watching, thank you as well. If you want to see a replay of this, you can go to my YouTube page. You can go there. It's The Sports Awakening. Just type in The Sports Awakening. It'll lead you right there. You can catch a rebroadcast there of this show. Just thank you again for tuning in. If you want to know anything about the AFC South, I'm your guy. Next week, we'll have another great and interesting show. We may have some guests. We may not. I'm just going to leave you in suspense on that one. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. You all have a great Thursday, great weekend as well. Great Thursday night and a great rest of your weekend as well. We'll see you back here next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I don't know what time it is over in England. I don't know what time it is over in Asia or anything like that. That's only 3 times I got for you. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in, and you all have a great night.